I do what I do.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? This is Dennis Sperlin, also known as Uncle D, and I'm live. And, I want to talk to you all about this so-called World War III. I have a bunch of videos lined up, and I'm going to let them play, and then I'm going to come back and give you my dissertation, my exegesis. But just for the alarmists out there, number one, there's not going to be a World War III because there's no other superpower on this planet. And I'm going to talk about that in more detail later. But the main thing you need to understand is Iran does not have an air force. They don't have a navy, okay? They don't have any submarines equivalent, not like we have. We got all of this locked up. The army is in Iran, and they don't have any way of getting it anywhere. The most they could use proxy violence through their third-party actors. And so these are the sort of things we have to worry about, individuals doing certain things. But the bottom line is, family, you see something, say something. But all these alarmists, okay, and I'm going to direct this broadcast specifically to Black Americans. All of these Black Americans say, oh, no, we don't want to get involved in this, and this has nothing to do with us. They don't care about that. You're an American. You're going to die with the rest of the Americans if they decide to blow up one of our buildings or something like that. So shut up. And excuse the language, but shut up. Your cowardice is showing because we have so many dedicated military men and women who are Black people. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it a couple of more times. 17% of the population of the United States military are Black people. Between 187,000 to 211,000 are Black men. In total, we have about 220 to 235,000 Black people in the military. Between 187 to 211 are Black men. Shout out to the military. Shout out to the American military. Shout out to the Army. Shout out to the Navy. Shout out to the Air Force. Shout out to the Marines. Shout out to the Coast Guard. Thank you so much for what you do. Standing there on that wall to make sure that our homeland is safe. I appreciate you. Now, to all you Black people out there who are talking about, not us, not us, you sound like buffoons. You sound like idiots. And I'm going to show you these videos of these very uninformed Black people discussing this topic. One of the worst things that could have happened to the Black community is social media, because it allows every fool, every uninformed fool to get on the internet and do some performative bootlicking and buck dancing and attention seeking, and you make all of us look like we don't know. One of the biggest problems that we have is allowing entertainers and actors to speak on behalf of foundational Black Americans. This is above your pay grade. You shouldn't be focused on politics. You need to be focused on something else. Because every time they put a Black voice up, it only takes one, okay? It only takes one to make a whole generation of educated, brilliant, great grand people like foundational Black Americans look like idiots. And for you immigrants out there, you Black immigrants who aren't loyal to this country in the first place, because you can go back to Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana, the Caribbean. You can go back to where you came from. And so it's okay for you to spout that cowardice. That's what you're doing. But I want you to listen to this buffoonery. I want you to just sit back and look at these clowns espouse this foolishness and pump this fear. Shut up. Okay? And I'm going to let it play uninterrupted because y'all like when I let stuff play uninterrupted. Y'all don't want me interrupted. I'm going to let y'all listen until you get upset. And I'm going to just say this. For those of us who voted for Trump, because I did vote for Trump. I'm not a Democrat. Well, I'm a registered Democrat, been a Democrat my whole life. I'm not a registered Republican. I vote my interest. And like many other Black people, many other Americans who are tired of hearing the rhetoric come from the Middle East, who are tired of hearing Iran say, yeah, we're tired of American presidents kicking this down the road a little bit. We're glad that Donald Trump eliminated Iran, and I want to get the name right. It's not Iran, it's Iran. We're glad that they eliminated that nuclear threat. There are people in the region who are glad that Iran's nuclear threat was eliminated. We don't want the idea that somebody that has specifically stated that they hate America has a nuclear weapon. Are you idiots? It's not going to be any nuclear war. For all you cowards out there who are afraid, it's not going to be a nuclear war. But I want y'all to check this out. The video is about to play back to back. Thank you, everybody, ahead of time for contributing to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I hope y'all like the new background, man. I'm out here chilling. And but anyway, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and let it play. Everybody who wants to contribute to the Super Chat, if you learn something, I should earn something. If you don't learn anything, that's fine too. But if you learn something, I should earn something. And y'all know what to do with the Super Chat. But I'm going to be hanging out in the background. Y'all check this out. And I'm going to read all the comments. This is Uncle D. Go ahead and check this out.
All you MAGA folk need to be prepared to go to war. Because this is what y'all voted for, right? This is how we make America great again, all right? Let's go ahead and go to war, right? America, pride, woo! Get your big funky ass out there on the front lines and be prepared to go to war. Because this is what you voted for. This is your president, right? This is it, right? This is what you wanted. Cool. Get your ass on the front line and go to war. Because honestly, most of us in America, we not worried about Iran. We trying to survive Uncle Sam, bitch.
Iran said everybody gonna feel it. All black people heard was, and I beat every bitch ass in here. Who ass you gonna whoop?
All my black niggas. World War III is approaching. Talking to the YNs too. Yes, I'm talking to the OGs, the little niggas, the big bros, the YNs, and the unks. Fucking suit up, nigga. It's time for y'all to be useful. We got Trump out here bombing motherfuckers. And you think them niggas not gonna try to retaliate, bruh? Get ready. Witches bring them drakes, bring everything.
Hey, I've been seeing the TikToks on here. People from Arkansas, shut the fuck up and go on somewhere with their goddamn foolishness. Talking about some, if I ran strike over here, Arkansas ready. Y'all may be motherfucking ready. Black people to black people. I'ma say this, and we gonna treat this like everything else. This is not our fight, okay? Y'all stay y'all asses off them trains, them planes, them boats, and them cars. Sit y'all asses at home with this one, okay? We gonna let them go out there and play. This is their war, not us, okay? Let's treat it as such.
Fuck you, Trump, you lie, bitch ass nigga, and I voted for you. Talking about all these goddamn elections. There ain't gonna be no World War III. You said that shit like 50,000 times, fuck nigga. And now there's gonna be a war. That's some bullshit. I ain't even signed up for this shit. This ain't even my beef. I don't even wanna fight. Why can't you niggas fight? Y'all I hate America. Trump and the boys don't put me front line too. They emailed me and said, we like that video you just dropped. You was really dissing the fuck out Iran. We put you first class. I said, first class? Fuck that mean? I'm thinking they talking about first class on a nice airplane. They talking about first nigga get shot at.
Iran, what the fuck you mean Chicago next? What the fuck y'all got going on with us? We ain't did shit to y'all ass. And baby, we not ducking no motherfucking smoke. But I'm just saying, what the fuck do we got to do with y'all little war and whatever y'all got going on? But baby, why the fuck is y'all coming playing with motherfucking Chicago like phone them won't slide? Baby, we got YNs in Chicago with a turn y'all ass into a goddamn Swiss cheese grilled cheese sandwich. Fuck is you talking about? And another thing, Uncle them gonna turn y'all ass to some motherfucking donuts. See right through your dumb ass. Come over and fucking with us. Like, is you cool? Is you fucking cool? And the motherfucking YNs alone, baby. Whatever you rode in on, bitch, that car or that boat, bitch, they gonna steal it. So what the fuck is you talking about? Baby, you not gonna win for lose. How you gonna get away, bitch? And the people of Chicago already put belt to ass to the police. So what the fuck y'all gonna do? And how y'all think Chicago got the famous nickname The Rack to begin with? Because niggas going to war every goddamn day in that bitch. Be fucking for real. Motherfuckers really get like that in Chicago. Shit, y'all better go play where it's safe at. Y'all better I'm going to go fuck with goddamn motherfucking Maryland or some shit. Chicago is crazy. And I'ma just say this. The GDs, BDs, moles, foes, and the hoes. Y'all all come out. You feel me? Because we may have to slide. They want to play with our motherfucking top. We may have to slide. The motherfucking, the SDs, Black Kings, all that shit, everything. Come out. Fuck come out. Motherfucker from out west, out south, out east, I don't give a fuck where you from, up north, bitch. Come outside, pop out, baby. They trying to fuck with us. And Mr. Elon, don't you own Twitter? Why the fuck you ain't stopping the Irans from getting on that bitch, running their goddamn mouth, talking shit, starting shit with other goddamn countries? They just own that bitch, acting like they goddamn King Von and some more shit.
Just here to say, on behalf of all black people, we ain't got no beef with y'all. We don't want no smoke.
Dear Iran, peace and blessings be unto y'all, my brothers and sisters. I'm saying though, what the fuck going on, twin? I seen you over there dropping missiles on Israel, and I was like, damn, them folks standing on business. But then you tweeted, everybody gonna feel this. And I was like, whoa, like, shout, what you even talking about? I know how it be when a nigga ass be in that mode, you would give it to anybody that get in your way. Just remember, fam, black folks in America don't run shit or call no shots. When we be invading nigga country and starting wars and shit, that don't be black folk. Shit, we just go so they'll pay for our college and get a nigga a little Charger or a Camaro. Hell, I ain't getting that one. I got an Impala LTZ. I'm just saying, fam, if anybody understand being fed up with the whole world fucking with you, it's us. We can't just be letting y'all talk crazy to a nigga ass threatening us shit. Because work come to work, you know we'll step on y'all nigga like Dan's revolution shot. We ain't even on our...
They want black people to fight and die for this country.
I see a lot of people be talking shit about America. If you don't like America, go to another country, bitch. I love this country. I'll protect this bitch.
And I think about the propaganda we've got over the past from a couple of years, whether it's the Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar performances, whether it's Captain America being black now, whether it's the black people who raised their hand in support of G-Side, whether it's the standing of Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party wanting to focus on more patriotism. It's the black man, Michael Langley, who is leading the charge for American imperialism in Africa. Whether it's making Juneteenth a national holiday, you can see so clearly that America's intentions with black people is to get them to have a nationalistic perspective, to see that we are America, and then on the flip side, be the faces of American imperialism. Then you look at military recruitment centers and how they are disproportionately in low-income areas with black people and minorities. America wants black people to be patriots because patriots fight and die for their country. Who better to be that face than black people? The very people that have been oppressed by America, and that the very people that other countries have pointed out as America tries to say that we are so great, but it's like, look how you treat black people. Who better to be the face of American imperialism than black people?
You ever notice how in everyday life and society we all niggas and whatever else they call us, and urban people and inner city and whatever, we all niggas, and we don't want to deal with their kind, and you're so afraid of us, and we're dangerous to society. Until y'all go out in the world and get yourselves in some shit. Then we're all Americans now. Nah, I'm gonna stay a nigga. Y'all handle that shit. You got it.
If Iran really wanted to stick it to the United States, if they really wanted to get back at us, you know what they should do? Help black people. If you really want to make them angry, help African Americans specifically. Help us regain our heritage. Help us know who we really are. Give us some money. Give us access to education. Give us a fair chance at life and liberty and all of that good stuff. But that's why I don't take a lot of these countries that are against America. I don't really take them that seriously, because if they really wanted to stick it to the man, or whatever we say these days, they help black people. America can't stand when people help black people specifically. Even its own citizens can't stand it. So if you hate America, love black people, give back to black people.
About Iran and Trump and them.
Who?
You know what I said. Iran and Trump and them. They've been talking about it all week.
Yeah, I heard about it. What happened?
So basically, Trump and his boys or whatever in the Congress or whatever, they done sent the nuclear bomb on Iran.
I know you lie.
And basically, Trump was like, so it's gonna bring peace, or if it don't bring peace, it's gonna bring a terrible tragedy.
So Trump already done sent the missile over there.
Yeah, they done blew it up. They said they sent the troops and the people to do it, and they came back peaceful.
So you know they gonna come back on bomb and Trump do some shit like that. Why
I don't know, but we can't prepare.
Best believe that. I know you lying. For real.
I ain't lying.
We gotta prepare, man. You know, we gotta stay on our foe. We gotta start praying a lot, man, because he done sent that missile for, well, why he over there messing with them folks like that?
I don't know what's wrong with him. They saying he doing whatever he want. So I don't know.
Let me call my mama then, man. We gotta go ahead and start preparing, man. Call your folks.
We
too,
already
man.
kind of got a little head start. We grilling, but you know.
Hold on.
All right.
You sure? You sure? It's on the news and everything.
I thought you seen it.
I've been busy.
Yes,
Hey,
I know.
hey, y'all been seeing what Trump going
Yeah,
on?
tell them, because I know they probably seen it.
Y'all done seen it? Hey, mine's me. What you doing? Nothing outside. Do my little thug thizzle, little grill. Look, have you y'all prepare, man? Cause you know y'all seen on the news, right? Yeah, call everybody. Call everybody. Call cousin. Call everybody. Cause he don't sit that mess. So you got to just be careful. When you go to sleep at night, just look up at the window and just be prepared because we don't know what's going on.
Look up at the window is crazy.
I mean, you know, look out the window, I bet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, y'all prepare. Y'all get y'all generators. Y'all get y'all food. Y'all get all this
We
healthy
cannot
stuff.
be fearful, though.
Yeah, can't be fearful. Y'all just stay prayed up. Gotta thank the Lord. Gotta stay prayed up. Yeah. But let me call you back. Let me call cuz right quick. Y'all all right over there? Oh, so you have? See, that's crazy.
Tell your family I said, hey.
They say, hey. Yeah. Let me call y'all right back so I can put y'all up on game. Call everybody. All right. That's what?
I thought you knew.
That's what them folks like that, man.
I don't know what's wrong with that crazy man.
Let me call cuz, man. Cuz. Hey, cuz, look, y'all go ahead and prepare, man. Yup, he told me the same thing. He said, yeah, they don't sit that missile over there. They said they might be sending the missile the next 48 hours.
It don't
too.
make no sense.
Yeah, man, y'all go ahead and prepare, man. How the kids, how the wifey doing? She still doing all right with that leg? Right. I'm over here cooking on the grizzle, man, staying prepared, man. I just want to call y'all, check on you, man. I almost burned the damn chicken.
Good.
Yeah. But look, let me holler at you back, man, because, damn, y'all prepare, man. Y'all right? I ain't got no money, cuz. I just wanted to call you just to let you know. Yeah, y'all prepare, man. Get your generator, get your water, go to Sam's Club. Yeah,
because this is crazy.
You got to get that Sam's Club
membership. It's on
too.
sale, I think.
Damn, so do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, man, let me holler at you back, man. Give me a call, man. I ain't got no money for you. All right. That's what's some damn. I'm sitting here trying to put him on. He talking about some damn money.
And he already knew, saying like, get this. Can't forget this.
But I gotta check that out, man. We don't play no shit like that.
I thought you really knew. Like, this is really bothering me.
I thought so
that
too.
You didn't know. You supposed to be up on game more than me.
Yeah, you're right. But like I said, we've been busy, and you know we're gonna see what's going on. We gotta prepare.
Yeah.
I don't know what Trump did we got going on.
I don't either.
He
basically trying
to.
He trying to end us.
God, dog. All we done try to do is live our life.
Right.
See our kids. We can't even damn do that. We gonna do that.
We sure is.
How about that?
Rebuke any curses.
You're damn right. I tell you one thing, I'm scared of that a motherfucker. I know that.
Don't be scared.
Oh,
we got it.
Right.
You a strong man. You gonna make sure our family good.
Got to. This shit crazy.
I want to tell you why the Western societies will not fall. I'll give you a couple examples. The F-15, the F-16, the F-22, the F-35, M1 Abrams tank, the Blue Water Navy, the KC-135, the KC-10, the ICBM struck. If you want to come for us, you more than welcome to. The United States dollar is backed by the military, and as much as you guys want to sit there and complain, I'll say this right now. There's one country on this planet that has stealth capability. There's one country on this planet that I think has functioning ICBMs. I don't think Russia has a single functioning ICBM, and there is one country on this planet that actually has a functioning blue water navy. There's only a few countries on this planet that have air refueling capability. The only reason why they have them is because we sold it to them. If you guys want to come for us, you can. The United States could take on every country in the entire world militarily at the same time, would be fine. Now, if you want to say cyber terrorism or there's a moral decay from the inside, cool, make that argument. The United States is not going to fall, not in our lifetime, not in the next 20 lifetimes.
If I'm gonna be real with all you niggas, bro, all y'all getting mad at fucking Trump is dumb as a bitch. First of all, do y'all not see what the fuck is Iran doing, nigga? Them niggas talking out their fucking skin, and y'all expect us to just be bitches? They talking about death to America, a whole lot of shit, and you expect Donald Trump to just take that shit lightly, gang, and be like, nah, let's not do no war. No, nigga, we finna, fuck that shit. First of all, these niggas have no Air Force. What the fuck? And y'all want them to create a nuke, and then we're done. What the fuck? No, nigga, we're finna terrorize that. China and Russia is not doing it, so if y'all saying that shit, they're not doing it. Putin already made an agreement, he's not trying to get into another war. China, they're sending equipment and shit to help, but they're not gonna full-fledged get into war.
They got too much shit to lose. But Israel, fuck y'all, bro. Y'all are crash outs, gang. Why the fuck is y'all getting into something, bro? And of course, United States gonna be the one to try to help, gang. But nah, bro, I'm not a Trump supporter or nothing, but you niggas are literally gotta think outside the box, bro. We're getting threatened by nukes, gang. We're not finna take that shit light, gang. The fuck? If you was the president, what you gonna do? Let's stop to a country that fucking don't give a fuck?
I'm gonna need for all of my dumbass family because to stop calling talk about some. Well, what do you think about what Trump doing now? You see what Trump doing now? Listen, I got what I wanted out of my vote the very first week that Trump was in office, okay? I wanted women to get their rights back and for them to stop letting transgenders play in women's sports. And I wanted them to take all of the LGBTQIA, B, C, D, E, F, G out of the schools and to stop forcing it on children and get them nasty ass books out of the kids' schools. I got what I wanted out of my vote. I wanted all of those illegal immigrants that was here hurting American women to get deported. I got what I wanted. Stop asking me. I'm good. I'm back to living my life like you don't do. Because every single 4 years, y'all dumbasses let the richest black people in entertainment stand up and tell you that you can't do it and that you being held down. When their very existence is showing you that that's not true.
What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So I got the news this weekend, like many of you all, that our president, Donald Trump, authorized the strategic strikes of Iran's nuclear sites where they store their enriched uranium and where they are manufacturing or attempting to manufacture ICBMs, which is intercontinental ballistic missile systems, which they would use to deliver a nuclear payload. And so, it happened Saturday night. I believe they call it Operation Midnight Hammer. President Trump gave a press briefing about it. And, I think all of us who have been studying the progression of Iran's nuclear capabilities over the past 10, 15, 20, 30 years have recognized that this was something that was going to happen and needed to happen. And I say that is because Iran after 1979, or Iran after 1979, was taken over by Islamic extremists. Before 1979, Iran was considered the New York City of the Middle East. Women could be seen with their head out. There was no Sharia law. Their hair was out, as I was saying. They wore short skirts, just like the fashion was at the time. And it was after this, this extreme version of Islam came into power, these leaders, that they reinstituted what we see now as Sharia law. And, they became instantaneously enemies of America, apparently, even though prior to that, we were actually considered allies. And the thing is, and I'm having this conversation because this is a repeat conversation that I had with my sons over breakfast yesterday. We basically empowered Iran, and we preferred them over what was at that time communism, which we thought was our biggest threat. Even in the war in Vietnam, the reason we invaded South Vietnam to protect it from North Vietnam was to undermine communism. And at that time, what the Soviet Union was trying to do, and that was try to spread communism. They had Cuba, you had the Cuban Missile Crisis, you had Vietnam, you had Iran, and this was the efforts that our government was taking at the time. And in the progression here we are now moving forward, you still have this Islamic regime, which has said death to America. They have specifically stated they want to remove Israel, the country of Israel, off the map. And irrespective of how you feel about anyone's particular religion, the idea that we would that any country would drop a nuclear bomb on any other country and kill innocent millions. And then we, as a world, would have to deal with the fallout of that. It's just unacceptable at this point. The reason they call it a Cold War is because there was never any actual war. It was just a threat of war which kept people at bay. Now, here's the thing. You know, as I was having this conversation with my sons, you know, gosh, I asked my oldest son, who will be 18 in approximately, 21 days. I said, son, if they reinstituted the draft, would you go? You know? And without hesitation, my oldest son said, yes, I would go. I would go defend my country. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, you know, based on my assessment of this generation, I thought he was going to say something, oh, well, I'll go to Canada, or I'm not going to fight for this country. But my young son, my 17-year-old son, said without hesitation that I would go. I would go because I would have to go, and I would defend my country. Now, you can say what you want to say about that, and we all know the history of Black Americans in this country. And speaking of which, you need to understand something. My family is from Mississippi. My mother's side, my maternal side is from Mississippi. Long there. They moved to the east side of Los Angeles in, I guess, around about 1968. And I was born around 1974. I was born in 1974. And my father's side of the family, the man who I consider my father, the man who raised me, the man I'm named after, was from North Carolina, a small place called Enfield. My family on my mother's side is from Tutwiler, which is right outside of Clarksdale, Mississippi, where they were sharecroppers and some other things. We do have some very keen relatives. I always speak about my great-great-great-great-grandfather, G.W. Jones Jr., first one of the black men that helped found Nicodemus, Kansas. He was a lawyer. He was a graduate of HBCU. But I never often talk about my father's side of the family from North Carolina. But the truth is, and only recently I found out that my biological father is not the man that raised me and not the man I'm named after. But for the most part, what I'm saying is I am a foundational Black American by culture and by genetics, you see? And so, and by history, and this is all I've ever known. So irrespective of who my biological father is, and many of us, if we begin to look into our heritage, you will see that sometimes grandma and mama and great-grandma was not quite forthcoming with the truth of who daddy was. Nevertheless, so I'm gonna set that aside to say that we are the most patriotic group of Americans that have ever stepped on this land. Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, having been here before slavery. Because remember, slavery was a 1619 institution that popped up. But we occupied this land from the time Christopher Columbus discovered Hispaniola, and then subsequently other Europeans came and explored what is now the North American continent. We have been here since that time. We came with the Mayflower. We came with Christopher Columbus. Pedro Alonso Nina, a black man from West Africa, was the navigator for Christopher Columbus. The reason Christopher Columbus knew that there was a Western land, the New World, is because he learned it from the Africans. Abubakar II came and left the west coast of Africa, followed the trade winds, made his way down to Brazil with 400 ships, and made their way all the way up the east coast of the Western Hemisphere, past the Dominican Republic, all the way up to, I believe, Florida. You see? And Africans have been traversing what they call at that time the Ethiopian Sea for centuries prior to the first European coming. Nevertheless, we've been here. You understand? And I'm not saying that we were here in the numbers that we're here now, but we have had a presence on this continent. There is just historical, empirical evidence to show you that. The people that migrated across the Bering Straits from Siberia, who we often referred to as the Native Americans, the Native South Americans. Those people were immigrants from Siberia. They made their way out of Africa, and over thousands and thousands of years, they made their way up through what is now Alaska, down into the North American, South American, Central American continent, and the Caribbean. Nevertheless, even the Vikings predated Christopher Columbus. And I say all that to say this, because, you know, I don't want to get too off. You all know I can ramble. Shout out to everybody who knows that Uncle D will tell a story, and I can ramble. Bottom line is, we've been here. We fought in every war. When I say we, I'm talking about foundational Black Americans. We have fought in every war that this country has entered into, whether we're talking about the Revolutionary War. The first man to die was Crispus Attucks, first man to take a shot in Boston in the chest for protesting. We turned around and fought in the War of 1812 when England tried to take their territories back. We fought on both sides. In the War of 1860, the War of 1865, as the Southerners like to call the War of Northern Aggression, also known as the Civil War, we fought in all those wars. Moving forward, World War I, we fought. World War II, we fought. The Korean War, we fought. Vietnam, we fought. Iraq, back in 1991, we fought. George Bush's war in Iraq, GW, not the daddy, GW, W's war, we fought. Iraq and Afghanistan, we're fighting now. African Americans comprise somewhere between 17 to 18% of the United States military right now. That's anywhere from 220 to 234,000. Of that number, Black men are anywhere between 187,000 to 211,000 out of 1.3 million. What that means is Black men who comprise only 6% of the population are 18% of the military. So we are overrepresented in the military. So when it comes down to war, when it comes down to patriotism, when it comes down to the people that are willing to put it on the line, it's always Black people. It's always Black men, and specifically. And I don't want to disavow what our sisters have done. Harriet Tubman was a spy for the Northern Army in the Civil War. So we have always been all hands on deck. Black people, Black men, we have always participated. And what I don't understand is that upon finding out that Donald Trump initiated what was necessary, and that is neutralizing a threat to the United States that has been ongoing for the past 40 years. You have all of these people, specifically Black people, popping up saying, oh my God, Iran is going to do something to us. Iran is not going to do anything to us that we haven't already anticipated they're going to do. We have the most powerful military in the United States. So logically, it makes no sense to root against the United States, even if it was just an outsider looking in. The money is going to go on the United States. But the question that I have for a lot of you Black people is, why would you root against your own country? Why would you want our military to fail? Why would you want our president to fail? Irrespective of your politics, you have to live here. What happens if Iran was able to develop an ICBM and a nuclear warhead that can reach the east coast of the United States? What would happen? Would you be safer because of that? Absolutely not. So I have to just analyze that we have such an anti-American presence, a vitriolic anti-American presence in the Black community, that it needs to be examined. You never root against yourself. We don't want any nuclear missiles hitting Baltimore coming out of Tehran. We don't want any nuclear bomb strikes hitting New York City. I see a bunch of Black people online talking about telling Iran, we don't have anything to do with this. Do you think the Black people that were in 9/11, when those buildings crashed, do you think those people cared that you were Black? All they saw was American. And so this misplaced notion of anti-patriotism and I mean, look, man, you don't have to be a die-hard American, but you know, my God, some of you all are not built like that. I believe in representing where I'm from, and whether that's the streets of Los Angeles or the United States of America, I am proud of my country. Now, that does not mean that our country is perfect, and it certainly does not mean that we have been the most have been on the most moral trajectory. But look at some of these other countries that you all worship. Look at the beheadings going on in Saudi Arabia right now. You got all these people supporting the Gaza Strip or Hamas. These people throw people over the side of buildings because of their choice and sexual partners. You couldn't get away with that. Some of you purple-haired folks, some of you blue-haired folks. What about China? What about Asia? You know, look at some of the horrible atrocities committed by Genghis Khan. The man, basically, him and his hordes, the Mongols just ran through Eurasia, Central Asia, made their way all the way up to the steppes of Europe and just unalived millions of people. Is that the culture that you want to support? That is the superior culture that you adhere to? This is what you look up to? Think about that. And for all my African brothers and sisters, all you Pan-Africanists think Africa's the motherland, we got black people going over to Ghana right now. We have women being unalived and coming up missing. We have them having their money taken. These are the same Africans that generated and manufactured wars solely for the purpose of being able to capture their neighboring tribesmen, put them in chains, and sell them on the west coast of Africa at one of the many slave ports to the European traders. That's not something that I'm going to ignore. And I don't care what you say. Look at all and we don't have to just stop in South Africa. Look at what's going on in West Africa. Look at what's going on in South Africa between the Nigerians and the South Africans. All of them look black. All of them are from the same continent, but you have South Africans mistreating Nigerians. Look at what went on between the Tutsi and the Hutus and the Tutsis. The Hutus and the Tutsis and the genocide that happened in Rwanda. No country hands are clean. Nation building in itself is a mean, nasty, messy thing. So whether we're talking about what happened in Europe, where they fought each other for centuries, the French fought the English fought the Vikings conquered everybody they could and slaughtered all the way up and down the English Channel, invasion after invasion, grape after grape. So no country is that moral that they're above the United States. All of these countries have blood on them. And so when I say that America is great and that you should be proud of where you live, that's not ignoring its moral quagmires of slavery and the other things that we've done. But if you're going to judge America by the way other nations have built. You should be grateful to be here. You should be grateful for the inventions and the fact that we could actually plead our case as a minority. And I'm not talking about just a racial minority. I'm talking about as a ethnic minority, as a people who are, at least 2/3 of us have been in bondage during the duration of time we were here. Because there's always been about 1/3 of black people or people of African descent who were free and walked this land free, whether we're talking about in the North or the South. In fact, there were black people who owned slaves. Look at the statistics in South Carolina, pre-Civil War. A large percentage of the slave owners in Charleston, South Carolina, were black. That's how pervasive slavery was. This was not entirely a European endeavor. This was not an entire European system. People of all ethnicities owned slaves. Catholics, Baptists, Jewish people. So keep that in mind when you start passing judgment on America. But for you all, this anti-patriotic vitriol, you want to see America fail. Why on earth would that be something that you would want? And I'm just talking to my black people, I'm talking to my foundational black Americans, because see, here's the thing I understand. I understand why a lot of the people on the East Coast in New York and some of these other places and some of these black people, especially, I understand why they're not patriotic, because they're not foundational black American. In essence, they identify more with being immigrants. In other words, they are foreigners who are in this country. These people don't necessarily like America. I'm not talking about all foreigners, but I do want to talk about some of the Jamaicans and the Haitians and the Trinidadians and the Ghanaians and the Nigerians and all these people. They have countries they can go back to. So just like they fled their own country, they'll flee this country if things get worse. But for you foundational black Americans with your English surnames and your roots here in the United States, you don't have anywhere else to go. I'm not talking to the foreign blacks, first generation, second generation, third generation, anybody. I'm not talking to you. And of course, we have dedicated patriotic black people from all over the diaspora who come to this country and who are fully inundated into being an American and being a good American and being loyal and being patriotic. I'm not talking to you all. I'm talking to the people who, these subversive people who are black, who hide amongst black people and spread these ideas of disloyalty, who spread these ideas of anti-patriotism, who tell us that America should fall. Look at them. I'm just saying, look, there's always a vein. Look at some of your great leaders. Look at some of our great black leaders from the last 100 years. There's always a bit of anti-patriotism in their conversation. And I love these people. Marcus Garvey, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, all of them have Caribbean roots. And although I love what they say when I investigate and I listen to what's being said, it's always that, well, you know, America this, America that. And those are brilliant people that I looked up to. I love them. I appreciate their wisdom. But now, sitting here in 2025, many of you have taken what they said and you've taken it to another level. You've corrupted that wisdom. You've taken pieces of what they said, and you've taken it and you have become straight up anti-American with it. Anti-American for a military that has 220,000 black people in it. You want our military to lose? What's going to happen to those young black men and women, specifically those that 187 to 211,000 black men? What's going to happen to them? You want to see them fail? So yes, our country bombed Iran. We sent 7 B-2 bombers over there, and we bombed 3 different sites. It's my understanding that those sites were bombed. There was no, the Iranian military was not targeted. Iranian civil population, who is largely discontent with the current leadership, by the way. They don't want to be oppressed like that, but nevertheless, we stayed away from civilian targets and didn't even bomb the military personnel. We went straight for those sites. And of course, we had some submarines that launched some Tomahawk missiles, along with those 3 aerial strikes. And our B-2 bombers are back at Whiteman Air Force Base back in Missouri after flying for 18 hours over there and another 36 hours on the way back, refueling several times over the Atlantic Ocean and other places. Nevertheless, you know, we neutralized a threat that had been ongoing for 40 years, but you all hate the United States so much. You hate President Trump so much. You want to root against him. You want to root against America. We just neutralized a threat that could have hurt and harmed hundreds of thousands of Americans. And here's the thing you got to, if they had been able to, if their aspirational dreams to design and manufacture up to at least 10 ICBMs or nuclear warheads had been fulfilled. These people want to hurt Americans. They literally say, we want to kill Americans. How can you root for them? How can you root against our interest? Where do you foundational black Americans? So we talked about the foreign blacks. I understand why their allegiances are 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 questionable. What about you foundational black Americans? You folk who can trace your heritage back to the plantations of North America and even beyond. Some of you got relatives that were free. Some of you have relatives that were enslaved. Some of you have relatives that were black people who enslaved other black people, who were slave owners. Some of you have white relatives. If you look far enough back in your history, it's a white man in your history who was probably a member of the Confederate Army, or a soldier or officer in the Confederate Army. If you look back far enough. If you look back far enough, you'll see that your lineage started right here in the United States, or what was at that time the colonies, at some breeding farm somewhere. So what I'm trying to get, I understand why. I get why the foreigners want to see America fail, but why would you want to see America fail? Where you gonna go? You gonna pack up all your stuff and move to Jamaica? With the Jamaicans, you think they treat you bad over here. They say you don't have a culture over here. You gonna go to Haiti? You see how they do it. Maybe you're going to go to Africa. We see how that's working out, all that red tape. They sold you over here in the first place. Why would you think they would want you to come back in droves? Unless they want to manipulate you, use you, and take your money. If Africa wanted us back, they would clear off all that red tape that they have. Stopping my people. I'm going to tell you, let me tell y'all something for a minute. Let me get into this. So I had planned to go back to Ghana for the year return. I had planned to go back to Ghana in 2019 for the year return. I had my visa. I was ready to go. And then I started doing research. I even had a hotel picked out. I had a first class flight picked out. Hotel. I was going to go up to New York, take that flight, go straight to Accra. Had a hotel that was going to let me overlook the ocean so I can see what my family last saw leaving Africa. But then I started doing research. And I realized that our so-called Ghanaian and generally West African brothers and sisters, they require you to have visas. And I got the visas, very expensive, probably one of the most expensive visas I've purchased. You show up to Mexico, they stamp it and you on your way. You show up to the Dominican Republic, it's $20 and you can get through. To go to Ghana, it's like $400 or $500. Okay. Most black people can't afford that. So that already lets me know that's a poll tax. That's a visa tax. They don't want a certain class of black American coming back. I get it. I got it. I was ready to purchase my ticket. But then I started doing research and I realized, and the game plan was to bring my children with me the next time I came, after I went and surveyed the place. But then I started doing the research. And I start listening to some of my black brothers and sisters who had made their way over there and who were telling me about some of the very unfortunate incidents that are occurring on what seems to be a continuous basis. They're given a lease or they're given ownership of a certain piece of land. They build this land up. And then for some reason, somebody somewhere who happens to be a chief or whatever decides that that land grant wasn't valid. And then they come bulldoze my foundational black American brothers and sisters investment down. Just knock it down. With no explanation, because they didn't pay the right people. They didn't grease the right palm. I started hearing stories about how difficult it is to get visa paperwork, and you have to have a sponsor to come over there. You have to have a family member or somebody. How in the hell will we have family members when we just found out through genetic testing what part of West Africa we were stolen from or we were sold from? So what I began to do is say, hold on, maybe I need to not go. And then it got worse. I started hearing about black women going to Ghana and being taken advantage of by these Ghanaian men. There's a story out where a young black woman came up missing. And the man who allegedly did, nothing happened to her. I heard in Nigeria, you can't even get out the airport without tipping somebody. So this does not look to me like a place that I want to go. Matter of fact, and you dig a little deeper, you would think they would give us a pass because we black. But then when we get over there, it's my understanding that you treat these foundational black Americans who've endured centuries and centuries of sexual assault, women being impregnated by men that they didn't even know, men of all ethnicities, and those children being sold. You are then now sold by African brothers and sisters for profit, for a hog's head full of rum, for a keg of gunpowder, so they can go out and cause more mayhem. You are now telling us we are not black. You are telling us we are not African. Well, you know what? You're right. We're not. We're foundational black American. And you are the one that drew that distinction. And this is just the culmination of decades and centuries of black Americans not being accepted. There was a time when the country of Haiti petitioned to be part of the African Union, and the Africans in the African Union said, you are not black. You are not African. Now, when I look at the typical Haitian, they're pretty black. They're pretty dark. You cannot distinguish them, for the most part, from the Africans on the continent, the vast majority of them. And if you're going to tell them they're not black, well, you know what? Maybe we're not the same people. Or maybe we are. And if we are, then maybe what we need to do is show you better than tell you that we want what's coming to us back. So that's why I came up with the whole notion. I said, well, let's speak to them from a position of power. Let's go ahead and drop a couple of $1 trillion lawsuits on them. Let's get our American government to change the law like we do over here in the United States, and let's begin to seize their oil shipments and seize their bank accounts after we get these mighty judgments. And then we'll come back to the table and negotiate about this red tape. Either you're going to get your money back or you're going to cut this red tape for about 2 or 3 million of my foundational black American brothers and sisters so they can come home. And when they get over there, you're not going to buy them and take your land, or we're going to hold this oil and this money in trust. See, some people don't understand kindness and logic. Some people you have to negotiate with a stick. Some people you have to negotiate with a hard hand. You cannot negotiate, you don't negotiate with anybody unless you have a position of power over them. And so that's the whole long-term plan of my reparations. Let's sue Africa. I'm suing Africa, or the plan is to sue Africa so you black folks can have a position of power when you go back. Most people are too stupid to understand that. Most people say, you suing Africa? Oh my God. Yes, we are Americans. We can do what the hell we want to do. And let me just run that back to you. This is America. Well, you can't. We can do whatever the hell we want to do in our country. And if you don't like it, you can go back over there. But us taking your oil and seizing your gold and diamonds and shutting you down, if we have to do that to make sure the 45 million black Americans are treated right, if they decide to go back to Africa to live, then that's what we're willing to do. And that's what I'm willing to do for my people. Nevertheless, again, that same lesson is not lost on Donald Trump. When dealing with Iran, some people, you have to deal with them with a harsh hand. So apparently for the past several months, we have been negotiating with We've been negotiating with Iran, and they've been stalling and pretending as though, yeah, we'll negotiate, which is a tactic they always use. We'll just wait till this administration gets out and we'll treat him like we treated the rest. But not DJ Trump, not 45-47. 45-47 said, give me 2 weeks. I'll think about it. And within 24 hours, he had destroyed all their nuclear, or the vast majority of their nuclear processing capability. And now, let's talk. You were stalling before, now you don't have anything to stall for. I took the toys away. Now what? And some of you all have a problem with that. Some of you all say, well, no, what was the what was the other option? To let these folk keep on building their nuclear capabilities? Is that a better option for you? And then they have more leverage. Some of you are too stupid to understand that the man is doing what's in the best interest of the United States. And if you live in the United States, if you're a citizen of the United States, especially my foundational black American brothers and sisters who have absolutely nowhere else to go, maybe a few of y'all, But the vast majority of the millions upon millions, the tens of millions of foundational black Americans, you don't have anywhere else to go. You couldn't go anywhere if you wanted to. So let this man do his job. I don't care if you voted for Trump. I don't care if you hate Republicans. I want this man to be successful. If his goal is to make America safe, if his goal is to keep our enemies at bay, if his goal is to make sure that my boy is not drafted into the military, my boy who has already expressed to me that he's willing to go and fight for this country, God darn it, it's my job to make sure we try to deter that as best we can. And see, a lot of you all don't care. A lot of you all are crash out. Somebody in the chat room type crash out. Some of you will crash out. You don't have anything to live for. You don't even like yourself. Okay? You've used every excuse in the book for why you can't have and why this person doesn't deserve it and you deserve it, but you ain't. The only thing you haven't been willing to do is put hands and feet and mind and heart to work to get it how you live. And if you don't get something that you think you're entitled to, then you want to say, oh yeah, it's because of whatever ethnicity you may be today or whatever disability you say you have. But yet we got 1,700,000 millionaires in the black community. And we are people who came up out of slavery, not less than in Jim Crow, an oppression in 1965. So less than from having 2/3 of the population living below the poverty line 60 years ago to having 1,700,000 millionaires. 57% of black men reach middle class by the time they hit middle age, which means by the time you round about 30, you should have reached middle age. 57, that's more than half. That's just black men. Think about that. And so what are you complaining about? The vast majority of the poor people in the United States who are black are children and old people. And of course, you got some impoverished people, but you have money. You want to see, go ride through the hood any day of the week. You'll see people, they riding around. They got $50,000 in cars and clothes and jewelry and furniture in the house. So they're not poor. We're not a poor people. In fact, I believe the brother name is Nuri Muhammad. He was on a broadcast and said if black Americans were isolated and we just looked at our generating and spending power, we would be the ninth most powerful nation in the world as it comes to finance and income. So we are not a poor people. If you don't have money in the United States with all these different ways in which to make money, whether you're talking about selling clothes online, selling products online, it's because you have failed yourself. You don't have to work for anybody else. You don't have to do any. You can become a millionaire doing yard work. It's the truth. Look at these Mexicans and Latinos who come up to this country and don't know a darn thing. They don't know the culture. They don't know the language. All they know is what they've seen on television, seen in the movies, or heard on the radio. And yet they come up here and cut grass for $25, $30. And they end up making thousands and thousands of dollars a year. So if you out here disgruntled and angry, that's because you have a sense of entitlement. You think you're better than what you are, and you're not willing to do what you have to do by means of hard work to get what you're supposed to get. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what you have to say. And I'm not telling you there's not going to be obstacles. I'm going to tell you what my daddy told me. As a black man in America, you got to work twice and sometimes 3 times as hard to make the same, get to the same level of success of a white man of your equivalent. But that's all right. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love my life as a black man. I embrace the struggle. I embrace the pain, because when I look back at what I've had to overcome, I can look myself in the eye and say, yes, my ancestors would be proud of me. Because I fulfilled the promise. Well, my great-great-great-granddaddy, born into slavery, went to HBCU in Mississippi. For him to look back at me now, or look forward at me now and say, my great-great-great-grandson is a lawyer just like I am, having never even known about me until probably 2 years ago. I fulfilled the promise of my ancestors. And I didn't do it by some scandalous manner. I can look myself in the mirror. And this is the promise of America. This is the only country that I know that a person can come here dead broke. A person who comes from an impoverished group, a minority group, can build themselves up to some level of success. And I'm not asking you all to be billionaires, but you certainly should be able to take care of yourself here in the United States, unless you have some sort of mental infirmity that is totally debilitating, unless you are a quadriplegic or something. But even still, I've seen examples of people, when there's a will and there's people that want to do, yeah, they will do it. That is the indomitable human spirit. You will make it happen. And so if you're disgruntled with America so much that you want to see it fail, you want to see this president fail, man, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. That's definitely a you problem. There are always going to be political parties that you disagree with. They're always going to have platforms that you don't 100% align with. That doesn't stop you from taking care of yourself and taking care of your family. You find a way. And fortunately, we live in a country where it is relatively easy, comparatively, to find a way. We don't have a monarchy here with a glass ceiling absolutely preventing you by birth from assenting. We don't have that. We don't have a communist, a socialist regime, so no matter how much money you make, no matter how much profit you generate, all of it is swept away to feed other people, to line people's pockets. We don't have a banana republic like many of these people have in these foreign countries, where you voice your opinion and you express yourself and you become successful or whatever, and all of a sudden you're ostracized and jailed and as some sort of threat to the government. We don't have that here. We are blessed in this country. We have freedom in this country, and we go a long way with it. America has presented black Americans with so many opportunities, and that's why you got all these black folk from these other countries who come here and exploit that. We as foundational black Americans set that up for everybody. And not just black folk. Irish, the Italians, the Polish, all of these Eastern European people who were considered less than white on the white people scale, they are not Northern European Aryans. Italians, they call them olive skin for a minute. The Northern Italians don't even think the Southern Italians are Italians. They will tell you now that the Southern Italians are mixed with African, and they therefore deem them to be less than. But when they come here, it's because of the foundation that black Americans laid. Freedom for all, forcing this country to live up to its ideals, that everybody has a fair shot. The Irish were treated horribly by the English all throughout their history. They treated them like dogs. And yet they come over here and they were able to profit. Even when they got here, the biggest enemy of the Irish was the KKK. They didn't like them Irish. They didn't like them being Irish, nor did they like them being Catholic. Look at the history of the KKK and the Irish. Treated them horribly. And we all know the story of Jews. The Jews was the N-word of the world before black people even showed up on the scene. Kicked out of dozens and dozens of countries, largely because of their success. And yet when they come to this United States of America, because of the hard work that black Americans put in, and I want to also say this, those 3 civil rights workers that died in Mississippi, 2 of them were Jewish boys. 1 of them was black. Those freedom riders that went down to Mississippi in that summer of '65 and ended up being unalived and buried in the side of a earthen dam. They had to find them. There's a movie out called Mississippi Burning that came out way back in the day that talks about that. Those were 2 Jewish boys. The NAACP is funded largely by the Jewish organization. This is way back when. Nevertheless, my whole point is this. This unpatriotic rhetoric, the coming from within the United States, I can't tell you what other people should do. I am only talking to my foundational black Americans and those of you all who are hiding amongst foundational black Americans, pretending to be foundational black Americans. You have no position to root against this country. You have no reason to root against this country. You have no reason to wish harm upon the United States or its military, or that it lose. Or I even hear people say, well, yeah, the cost of gas is going to go up. The cost of gas is going to go up because Iran is going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, where the oil comes from. What happens if they do that for the uninformed? Number one, the biggest seller or biggest purchaser of their oil is China. And if between these tariffs and the idea that they would shut down that Strait of Hormuz and lose their oil, access to their oil from Iran, China's economy would crash in the next 30 to 60 days. It would be over. So I'm absolutely sure that somebody in Beijing is calling somebody in Tehran and say, look, you're going to have to eat this one. Yeah, I know they bombed your facilities, but you're going to have to eat this one because you need to keep this oil coming over here because it's already bad enough with this guy and these tariffs. On top of that, Iran has no navy. And our Fifth Fleet is right there in the Strait of Hormuz right now, and I'm absolutely certain that they would have a lot to say about them trying to shut down that international waterway. It's not going to happen, period. This is America. We are the big dog on this planet, and there is only one of us. Nobody is going to do anything on this planet that we don't allow to happen. We can be anywhere at any given time right now. And some of you all don't like that. You don't understand. This is how it works. There was the Mali Empire. There was the Egyptian Empire. There was the Roman Empire. There was the Empire of Great Britain. There was the Spanish Empire. And now you have the American Empire. And if you are an American and you live in the United States of America, you should be rooting for the home team. That air conditioning that you're sucking up and enjoying right now, that iPhone that you're looking at right now, that vehicle with that gasoline and the home that you live in and the luxuries that you enjoy, that is because of the American Empire. Whether you like it or not, you reap a direct benefit from the United States being successful in this world. And I find it highly ironic that we have black people who complain about white supremacy, racism, and the benefit that white people reap from what their ancestors did to people of color and black people in specific. You mad at them for that, right? But you're certainly willing to accept the benefits of the so-called oppression that the United States empire puts upon other people. So that means you're a hypocrite. Nevertheless, in my opinion, based on my assessment of history and the rise and falls of nations, America is a country where you can petition, where you can appeal to our country's and our judicial system's sense of sensibilities, and you can make change. You got people who are straight up criminals, who are drug traffickers and predators and criminals who are not even supposed to be in this country, and they still have a right to petition this court and ask for due process and delay this process of them being sent back to their countries. That makes America great. At least we give you a fair shot. And that doesn't mean it's going to last forever. But unfortunately, when you give people these rights and these fair shots, they begin to think they're entitled to it. And when the jig is up, the jig is up. It's up. We had unfettered illegal immigration all throughout Joe Biden's administration. We had unfettered illegal immigration and a broken immigration system for decades. People have flooded this country. There's probably 30 to 40 million illegal immigrants in this country right now from all over the world. They're draining our healthcare system. You go to an emergency room, there's filled up with people who need basic healthcare, but they flood our emergency room because our laws say you have to treat these people. And so a taxpaying American who has health insurance, you got to sit in there and wait 4, 5, 6 hours just so you can see a doctor for a broken leg or a broken arm, because there are people in there with colds and flus that don't have health insurance and shouldn't be in this country, and because our system says you have to treat these people, they sit in front of a line in front of you. And in places like California, illegal immigrants are allowed to get CalMed or a MedCal or whatever it is, basically free health care paid for by the citizens of California. And so at some point we have to recognize that, hey, we can't educate your children. Your parents and your grandparents did not pay into this system. Yeah, you might be working, and that's great for you, but you did not pay into this system. You didn't pay the property taxes for the past 40 or 50 or 60 years through your parents and your grandparents, so much so that we were able to build these public educational institutions. And so your children going to this school and you having children, that's putting a burden on the rest of us whose ancestors did pay into it. And that's the only way the system works, is if people prepay. We've been paying it forward for centuries. And now you come over here, you skip the line, you didn't come in the right way, and now we got to pay for your children, we got to pay for their education, we got to pay for your health care, and you putting the burden on us. So the average American, yeah, you might cut grass and cook some tacos, and you got Nigerians over here going to the universities, that's great, but you didn't pay into the system. And then on top of that, you develop this sense of entitlement. And so now you got to go. And we let you stay for 30 or 40 years. Go make Nigeria great again. Go make Honduras great again. Go make El Salvador great again. Go make Mexico great again. But why sit here and be and flame these unpatriotic sentiments and spread this through our country? We're not going down to these other countries waving our flags and telling them what they need to do better and what we're entitled to. Most Americans just want to be left alone. They take a trip to Orlando and go visit Disney World once or twice a decade, and they're good. They want to raise their children, take care of their children. They want fair living. They want fair opportunity. That's what we pay for. That's what we fight for. That's what we work for. And you got all these people over here trying to make it seem like you come to our country, you use our resources, and then you talk bad about us. You talk bad about American imperialism while you benefit from quote-unquote American imperialism, which is definitely not as bad as what they have going on in some of these other countries. China, Russia, Ukraine, Tehran, Saudi Arabia, all these enlightened countries. Think about that. And I hope you black folks listen to me, man. Cut that out. All that unpatriotic rhetoric. You the last people. You are the most you come from the most patriotic group of people in America. We are the only true Americans. We have, as far as the what is called the United States of America, this nation that is called the United States of America, we were here at its founding in 1776. We are the only people that were born and bred right on this land. We are an amalgamation of all the people who come to this land. Native American, European, whatever, Asian. That is all wrapped up in our genetics. We are the people of this land, born and bred here. We have no origin. Yeah, we got a little African, we got a little European, we got a little Native American, but our culture is 100% American. We are American culture. From our music to our food, to our ingenuity, our can-do spirit. Where you think that came from? Europeans didn't come over here with a can-do spirit. They came over here with a we can't spirit. That's why they left their countries and said, we can't do it over there, so we come over here. The can-do spirit, if you look at it, it came from these black folks that built D.C. It came from these black folks that work from sun up to sun, from can't see to can't see every day. Making cotton what was the white gold of the world, hottest commodity in the world for centuries. We built this economy. That's where that spirit, that's where the American spirit came from. That's the empathy, the ingenuity, the inventions. It's that black American, foundational American black person who is down there on that plantation or up there on that plantation in the north. We're the ones. That's where it came from. White people came and took it, but that's all right. We invented some more stuff. Jazz, hip hop, Rock and roll, blues, they took that. We still inventing it. So you have no right to be unpatriotic. This is your country. And let me get it in tight. Black Americans, this is your country. The United States of America is your country. You are the most important element in this country. As far as its founding and right now. You. And you need to take pride in that. Don't let anybody talk bad about the U.S., man. This is our home. This is where we live, and this is where we're going to be. Shout out to everybody who's contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal, baby. This is Uncle D. I love you, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. As I always said this time, I'm out.
Oh, how wonderful Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Yes, he did. Yeah. Oh, how marvelous it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Say it again, y'all. Yeah, yeah. Oh, how wonderful it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. All right, say it, y'all. Yeah. Oh, how marvelous it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Come on, y'all. I don't have to worry about the things ahead. All I have to do is live right and believe in what he said. I can call him in the morning. I can call him in the middle of the night. Yeah. And when I call him, he'll make everything alright. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how big the problem may be. Jesus promised he'll take care of me.